Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of the Kamen Kast. This is episode 4. My name is Peace for Lunch, and as always, I am joined by my lovely wife,
Daisy64.
What is up?
Yo.
How you doing?
Doing great.
Good. Glad to hear it.
Yep.
Okay, so here we go, episode 4 of Kamen Rider Zi-O.
Zi-O.
So we start out the show as always, and I'm not going to say it every time.
In media res.
Just Wars is talking about previous episode.
Yes.
So that's cool.
I like how they change it up every time. It's kind of neat. This time it's kind of like he kind of trailed off a little bit. Like
yeah, previously he's just been like, oh, you haven't heard this part yet. Oh, I've read too far. This time he just kind of was like, are you ready? I like that too.
I loved it.
Okay, so we pick up exactly where we left off in the middle of the fight in the game world or the warehouse. X-Aid kicks the shit out of him a little bit, and then Aura stops time.
Yep.
She stops the fight, and one thing I found really interesting about this stop is Geiz can still move to a certain degree because he turns its head a little bit, and he's like, oh crap, that's a time jacker.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that's an interesting detail I think we'll get more into later, because up to this point, everything has stopped, except for what they didn't want to stop.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I find that interesting, but Aura moves over to the dude on the ground, which we learned is the dad from earlier.
Yes.
In the last episode. And she recreates another X-Aid.
Yep.
Go figure.
Yeah, she said, I'm disappointed. You're going to make me have to start this over again.
Right. And so she recreates him, and as soon as she does, the game world ejects them.
Yeah, and you can kind of see X-Aid glitching out a little bit, and then, of course, it sends it back to the real world, and he goes, Who are you people?
Yeah, and so then we get the fun moment of them trying to explain what's going on.
Yeah.
And Emu pretty much tells them, I'm doing something different from what you're doing.
Yeah.
So stay out of it.
Yeah. His goal is completely different.
So that's interesting in and of itself. So they're pretty surprised. They go back to home base, which is the clock shop. And they're pretty shocked to find out that this time the rider is standing in their way and not assisting them.
Right.
So Geiz pretty much tells Sogo, as he usually does, that he's going to handle it from here. I'm going to go back to 2016 and kill another X-Aid and fix this whole thing.
Right.
And tells Sogo, hey, you're staying out of this. And he leaves.
Yeah.
Tsukuyomi explains a little bit about how her and Geiz lost people.
Yeah, she kind of explains, why he's kind of acting the way he is about keeping Sogo out of things.
Yeah.
And, she explains, part of it has to do with what you said earlier, and we kind of get that flashback to the moment where he's like, haven't you ever wanted to protect people, or, something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
And she tells Sogo about how their friends died while fighting Zi-O. And so whenever Geiz sees him, and thinks about his friends, he only sees them as somebody he needs to kill.
Yeah.
To prevent that from happening.
And in response to that, Sogo asks her, well, do you see me that way?
And she doesn't know.
Do you think I should be killed that way? And she doesn't know.
She's like, I don't know. I just want to guide you. I want to, guide you to not be that person.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I think Tsukuyomi's going at it from the perspective of, okay, she sees it now. Maybe there's a way to change the timeline without killing him. So I think that's her approach. So then we see Geiz in 2016.
Yep.
And when he shows up, I can't remember. Does he fight another X-Aid? Yes.
Well, he comes in right as Brave and X-Aid are fighting Alhambra, which is the mage.
That's what it was.
That's the mage fight.
Yeah, that's the mage fight from X-Aid, and it's literally pulled from X-Aid.
Yeah.
Like, that is the scene. And he watches them in his time machine, and then he goes to the hospital where they are, and he tries to explain.
He's like, hey, I'm from the future. Somebody's going to come try to steal your powers. And I'm just going to wait and hang out until that happens. Because then I'll know, like, another rider is going to be here. And
so
Hiro doesn't believe him. He's like,
no, Hiro just like, oh, I'm not gonna listen to this crap.
He's like, oh, that? No, thank you, Doc.
I'm not gonna listen to this crap, and he leaves.
He's like, no, thank you, Doc.
Yeah, it's fucking. Anyway, so this brings up a point that I wanted to talk about, because does this not just completely break everything? This is the first time they've traveled back in time to before stuff happened.
So, about
Yikes.
that, anytime there's a time traveling kind of thing, they always play kind of loosey-goosey with the rules of time travel.
Sure.
Because the butterfly effect is a thing, and no one ever does that. But then again, you have to think about, too, once they set the timeline right, it's pretty much going to erase that this crap happened anyway. So,
yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I just feel like this is the first time we've seen them travel to before something happened.
As far as okay.
Before another X-Aids even created, Gates is here trying to explain what's gonna happen. Yeah. And he's like, I'm just gonna watch until it happens. Right?
Yeah.
So this is a little weird, and I don't know how to feel about this. I think what's gonna have to happen, at least for me, is I'm gonna have to just erase this whole mindset of worrying about the time stuff, in the sense of like
willing suspension of disbelief.
Yes.
Just let it happen.
So anyway, moving on, we repeat the same scene from the last episode where Aura creates another X-Aid, but we get a little bit more.
Right.
She explains that his son is dying.
Keisuke, his heart's gonna give out.
Right. But she has good news. She can turn him into something that can help him.
Right. And it's creepy.
And
it's a creepy thing.
He's nowhere near as creepy as another Build.
We haven't seen his eyes very well.
The big thing about him is the mouth. The teeth.
Yeah, and then those, like, predator dreads.
Those are cool, though. I like that look.
He's the dreadator.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay.
So, anyway, so the boy agrees to the contract, and as she creates him back at the hospital, you see Gates being pulled on by some kids, which, I mean, I guess he's not a total a-hole. He's putting up with that.
He's just kind of like,
Yeah, he's not
awkward.
worried about it. And Emu glitches a little bit when this happens. And Gates is like, oh, crap. The dude's just been made. So he jumps on his motorcycle and zips over there and does like some crazy motorcycle attacks.
He is rad to the bone.
Rad. Yeah, he is totally rad.
Totally rad.
In this moment.
I'm telling you, you really feel those 90s vibes.
Big time. Like, wow. He does some crazy tornado bike attack. It's insanity. But he defeats him, so he does a finish on him and everything.
But he doesn't defeat him.
But he's not gone.
Yeah. It's like I beat you, but I didn't beat you.
Right. I defeated you, but you're still here. So he calls Tsukuyomi back in 2018. And
I want a phone that has that kind of reception.
Right? He calls her and he's like, this didn't work. What's going on? And so now we do another weird little time thing. See, I'm going to touch on this a little bit too. In Kiva, Kiva deals with two separate times. And granted, it's only two, but each episode there's only two. Mm-hmm. It does, whenever there's a scene transition in Kiva,
it always tells you
it'll do like a screen break and show you what year we were in, and it'll flip to the next year and push back in.
Yeah.
And I feel like this needs that more than what they give.
Yeah, I can kind of see that, but I think there's slight differences with the lighting.
Yeah.
Slightly. But
also,
it is still kind of vague unless you're paying like super close attention.
Right. And so we go back to 2018 and we now see Emu like entering the game world to talk to another X-Aid.
Yeah. We found out his name is Ida-san, and of course M doing the doctor thing is like, you really need to be by your son's side.
This is one thing that I will always love about X-Aid is Emu was a rider, a true hero main rider.
Yeah.
He definitely, he would go out of his way to get the outcome he wanted. And what he wanted was the perfect thing a doctor would want, which is just...
He wants to save his patient.
Save my patient.
But he doesn't want to just save them physically. He wants to save them emotionally, too.
Right. So I really liked seeing this because this is true to the spirit of Emu as a character. Yeah. And I just really dig it. I know it's cheesy to be the super good guy. I get that. But this is also cool. So we're touching on a new first here. Another rider can morph back to its human self.
Yeah. And like be like in his mindset, like in his right mind, so to speak.
So he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Whereas the last guy, he was
just possessed.
Yeah.
He was just completely possessed.
Overtaken. It was weird.
So here's my theory on that. Is that since Aura created this one's more advanced because Aura's a more advanced time jacker.
Yeah.
Where Uru is not.
Yeah.
So his creations aren't going to be as strong as hers.
Okay, I can see that.
That's my guess.
She's a little more sophisticated, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
She's probably been doing it longer, right?
How long has this been going on? I want to know.
Right. So then Sogo appears. Right. Well, no, let's take it a second. So another Ex-Aid turns into the human form.
Ida.
And Ida's telling Emu that what he has to save him because the doctors aren't going to.
Yeah. He's not just going to sit there and watch his son die.
Yeah. And so they get into an argument, as Emu likes to do. And then Sogo shows up. Mm-hmm. Sogo and Tsukuyomi show up.
Yep.
We're still in 2018 as this happens. Sogo appears, and he's found the link between the different patients.
Yeah.
He has found that they are younger children.
Yep, and they all have a heart that would be just about the right size for a transplant.
Right. And so the dad, who has another Ex-Aid, Ida, is taking out these people. He's pretty much sacrificing people to find a heart to fix his son.
Right.
Which is pretty crazy. This is what I mean.
It's a show of desperation, though. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, in a way, you can kind of understand why he'd do that, because literally he's like, the doctors aren't doing anything. I have to do whatever I possibly can to save my child.
Sure.
And I mean, in a way, you can't fault him. But at the same time, that's kind of where Sogo comes in later and talks about that.
Right. So Sogo has figured it out. And he goes and visits Hiro before this. And Hiro states that I could have done this had it been a year sooner. Like, I could have fixed the kid. So Zi-O references Tsukuyomi's feelings in this moment of, like, I understand what it's like to see somebody who you feel needs to be defeated, or something like that.
Yeah, it's like I understand that you feel like we feel like we need to defeat you, but at the same time it's like M says we still need to save you.
Right.
So it's kind of that juxtaposition, and so I was like, but I can understand where both of you are coming from.
Right.
Because of this. But then he says to Ida-san, he says, but I don't agree with your methods. I think you're doing it all wrong.
Yeah, you can't sacrifice others.
Yeah, exactly. You don't hurt other people to get, what you need or what you want.
Right. So, Ida turns back into another Ex-Aid and pretty much tells them all to shut up, and he leaves.
Yep.
At this point, Sogo tells Emu, you worry about the kid, I'll worry about another Ex-Aid.
After all, it's the king's duty to save his people.
Right.
Because he's like, I want to be a king when I grow up, and it's a king's duty. And I kind of like that. I know it's cheesy, but I was like, oh, look at you.
It's cheesy, but it's good. It's good.
I kind of feel like it's Tsukuyomi's influence a little bit.
It definitely is. And so this is where Emu agrees to the terms and hands over the Ex-Aid ride watch.
Yep.
This thing looks way cool.
Yeah.
I like before you twist it. So these watches, you have to twist them before you see like the helmet. So you twist it and you see the helmet of the rider. Before you twist it, there's a little white Ex-Aid symbol up top. Mm-hmm. And then it's got the year 2016 under it because that's how it works. But I love the look of that.
It's got the pink and green. I love it.
It's beautiful. I might have to actually get that to go on my shelf because that's a cool looking watch. So Imu gives Sogo the X-Aid ride watch. And then Sogo is like, all right, I'm going to get in this time machine.
Machine. Just call it a time machine. Because we know that's what it is.
I'm going to get in this time machine. I'm going to fly away. And I'm going to travel back to, and that was my phone. I'm going to travel back to 2016 and deal with this.
Yep.
And as he tries to go through his wormhole, he's attacked by a green and black pirate ship.
Yep. That then turns into, like, I don't know, a rhino or a rhino beetle.
It's like a horned beetle.
Yeah.
And it's another mech, so we have a really slow mech fight. I have to say.
But who's in the mech? It's important.
It is important, and I'll get there. But let's talk about the mech fight.
Yeah.
They need to learn something from Sentai.
Yeah. Especially Lupin Pat, man.
Lupin Pat's like Zord or mechs or Gatai, whatever you want to call them. Lupin Pat's mech fights are so much better than most of the ones I've seen. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes we still get a slow, I've got a weapon and here I come. We still get that.
Yeah, but the CG is definitely upgraded over the years.
Boy, is it.
If you can't tell, we really like Lupin Pat.
We do. A lot. That last episode has won me over.
Yeah.
32, not 33. We still have to watch 33. Anyway, so who is piloting this pirate beetle ship? Uru. Right? So Uru has his own ship, which now we're starting to dive into some Sentai shit right there. So they fight for a little bit. He pins Zi-O up against the wall. Okay, let's talk about this too. Sogo henshins inside of the time machine. And it turns the face of the time machine into Zi-O's face.
I didn't even notice that.
Yes.
That's cool. Okay.
It turns the face into Zi-O's face. And I guess makes it stronger?
I'm assuming so.
And that's how, he finally punches Uru's mech hard enough to knock it to the ground.
Yeah, and it starts like sparks coming off of it.
And stuff. And then he forms back into his motorcycle form and flies off.
Yep. And Uru's like, not bad, as expected of Zi-O.
One thing I like about that scene is he just kind of crosses his legs.
Yeah.
He doesn't try
He's like all chill and there's like,
whatever.
I'm not worried about this.
There's
like,
sparks and stuff in there and he's just chilling. I like that.
It's more of like a quiet awe.
But I think he was kind of testing his ability too. Almost like a test to see like how good is he at this stage. So then he goes to 2016 and we cut to Gates fighting another X-Aid.
He's still fighting that guy.
And he's getting his ass kicked.
He really is.
He's getting beat really bad. Sogo shows up and he jumps out of his time machine not henshined anymore.
Mm-mm.
He's back to just Sogo.
I want to know how that happened, but I'm not going to linger on that.
Yeah, I don't want to nitpick either, but I feel like I have to mention something or I wouldn't be being true to myself.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Just so you could get that really cool little transformation.
And don't get me wrong, or don't misunderstand. You also said what?
Yeah, no, I know. I just don't want to linger on it because I'll be like, why?
Yeah,
why?
No, exactly.
Next thing you know, we're off track, and then anyway.
He jumps out and he uses his time machine to knock another X-Aid out of the way. Gates runs over to him. And what does he say? What does Gates say? Do you remember?
He's like, I told you not to come.
Yeah, I told you to let me take care of this.
Yeah, and I think it's because he knows that by him taking on this fight, he's going to have the X-A power, which means he's going to be one step closer to becoming Zi-O, which is what he's trying to prevent.
Exactly.
So, long story short, he's trying to take care of things so that doesn't come to pass.
Yes. So, in a weird turn of events, Sogo goes, no, I believe you. It's cool, I understand.
Yeah.
And Gates is taken back, like, what do you mean? What do you mean?
No, please don't. God help us. Okay.
He believes Gates, and he also says Tsukuyomi.
Yeah.
I believe you and Tsukuyomi. And then we get a cool henshin. This henshin, I felt, was the most stylized for Zi-O so far. I liked it a lot. It was just a very pure, we saw the form.
And the angle was different, so you got to see more of his face. Because normally it's kind of a little more zoomed out so you can see the entire picture.
Yeah.
But I like this one because it's a little more up close and personal. And, like, dude is committed to it, so I love it.
He really is. I've been putting images up of these on these episodes, and anytime I screen capture a good henshin of them together, there was one last episode where they both henshin together that I got a really good shot of. But it was a good henshin. It was really good. This is kind of one I would show somebody to be like, this is Zi-O's henshin. Yeah. It looks nice.
It does look really cool.
So he henshins. And another X-Aid summons Bugsters.
Yeah, the Alhambra, like, mage Bugsters. I always love them because it's like, the first time I saw them when they, in X-Aid, when they showed up with Salty.
Yes.
And they were in the little chef outfits. I was like, do they have, like, chickens on their heads or whatever? But no, it's like they actually look like viruses.
They do. They look like little viruses.
Or like bed bugs. I don't know. They're gross and weird. But.
And as he does this, Emu shows up. And does his full-blown X-Aid
Yeah, but he's like, who is that? Is this guy trying to be me?
Yeah.
And he's, like, confused. And he's like, oh, well, transforms, destroys the Bugsters,
whatever.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they don't know him.
Well, no, he doesn't destroy the Bugsters.
He destroys some of them.
But he's not the one that finishes them all off.
No, that's a really cool thing that happens. But
So anyway, X-Aid transforms, and X-Aid starts fighting another X-Aid. Mm-hmm. And wow, he's actually winning. He's hurting him. And at this moment, we get another wonderfully...
Wait. First off, Sogo says the original power actually works against another. Like,
right.
The Rider's power works... Yeah. And then he
gets the jump scare from Wars.
he's like, oh yes, remember this, my demon king.
Remember this, my demon king.
And he says that, you can use the Rider's power against them and it's effective.
Yeah. He just pretty much says a Rider's power can be used against the Rider, and it's all good.
Yeah. But I love every time he comes in, I'm like, because he's always like, he always scares Sogo, like every time.
It's hilarious.
And it's so great. It's so great.
And so, of course, when you see Wars show up, you also know another thing is coming, in the fact that this is when Sogo or Zi-O is going to use the X-Aid armor. Mm-hmm. And at this point, I believe Emu gets knocked out of his transformation.
Yeah, he glitches out. And that's when it all happens.
Yeah. So he jumps up on the roof of this awning, and I loved this shot. I loved this shot of Wars with the book open saying rejoice.
First he goes, ja-ja!
Right. Well, let's talk, the armor a little bit. Yeah. So he presses the button for the armor, and we actually see the X-Aid armor do the pose for X-Aid, just like Builds did.
Yeah.
And then it attacks another X-Aid before equipping onto Zi-O.
I love that.
And he goes, ja-ja!
And you see the epaulets on the shoulders of the gashots.
Yeah, the gashot shoulders.
And I think you said they were the Gashikon Breaker style arms.
He's got Gashikon Breaker arms. It's like two hammers.
Yeah, he's gonna be punching them.
And so I love Wars has the book open and it's just like rejoice.
Yeah, he's in his herald form.
And he's just like, we're getting to see Zi-O who conquers all of the Rider powers, X-Aid armor.
Yeah.
And it's a really cool scene. And so Geiz sees this and it's kind of like, damn. And so then he uses, the first time we see his axe finisher.
You forgot the most important part.
What did I forget?
With no continues, I think I'm going to clear this. Where he and M come together and anytime they use the phrase or a variation of the phrase, I always get super excited.
I like this part. And I did miss it, you're right. But Emu says, I'm going to clear this with no continues. And that's his catchphrase. And then what does Zi-O say? Like, I'm going to clear this or something.
Yeah, M says the part, he goes, with no continues. And M goes, I think I'm going to clear this. Or whatever.
Yeah, well, mainly because he's not good at games. So that's an interesting callback.
He's so bad at everything but history.
So Geiz uses his axe finishing attack to destroy the rest of the Bugsters.
Zakari cutting.
And I liked it.
It was cool.
I liked it. I liked the little clock or the watch ticks as he spun. Most riders have a circle attack that goes around them.
It's like a multi-kill kind of thing.
Yeah. And it only really works on lower level enemies. It doesn't work on
in Sentai forms, it'd be like the putties. Basically.
Yeah, sure. So then Zi-O is now in X8 armor, and he starts fighting. Another X8. And as he's hitting them, it's going Hito.
Hita.
And
he's like bouncing off the blocks.
Yeah. And the symbols are different for the hit. And so he's beating up another X8, and this is when
it's cute that now you say that, because it's not in English. It's probably because he sucks at English too.
Yeah. So then we see Emu go. He kind of does what Sento did, and he's like, "No, do the finisher," and he does the motions.
Yeah, it's so great.
Does the motions for it.
It's critical time break.
And so this is a crazy like fourth wall break, to where like, so it does the slash across the screen and does the critical time break. And in X8, it always does these cool slashes, and it'll show like the head of the rider and then like his foot because he's about to do a kick.
Yeah.
But in this moment, Zi-O breaks the fourth wall by looking around at the elements, and is kind of like, "What?" And then he knocks them all into the air.
Yeah.
And I thought this was way goofy, but he knocks them all into the air. And he jumps up into the air and knocks the big split part at him.
Yeah. And M's like, "That's not it, though."
And I loved the look on his face. And he's like, "But that's not it, though." And so then he dives down with all the other pieces of the scenery. He makes like a row of them.
Yeah.
And he punches them into him. And what I liked about it was... are you aware of the turkey kick from Mortal Kombat that Liu Kang does?
Yeah.
It's a lot like that, but he's flying with his fists, and he's doing the punches.
This show is so silly.
It is weird. And so he defeats another X8, which falls back into Ida. And
M runs to check on him, which
right.
I thought was great, because he's like, "Oh, you're a person, what?"
And this is also another good juxtapose, is like, while after he hits the final hit, Zi-O is like, "Yeah, I did it," but Emu like runs past him and is just like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" Mm-hmm. So again, coming back to the fact that Emu cares about the patient.
Yeah, it's definitely the person.
And so,
or the personality coming through, basically.
Sogo is like, "Well, I know a great doctor for your kid," or whatever. And he's like, "You've got a great surgeon."
Right.
Back at your hospital. And he asked Emu, "Can he come to your hospital?"
And then he's like, "Because you have the genius surgeon." And then it cuts to Hiro with a cake. He's like, "There's nothing I cannot cut." And he goes, "Shh." He cuts the cake like he always does.
For those who haven't seen X8, there's a beautiful scene. Hiro's thing is there's nothing he can't cut in this, and he loves desserts.
Yes.
And there's this great scene where he takes like a butter knife and goes like over like a cream puff, and he cuts it into 4 perfect segments.
Yeah, and it's like there, and then it goes plink. Yeah, it just plinks open.
And everybody goes, "Whoa!" So he does that to this cake.
Being.
And so then we cut back to 2018. Sogo's riding his bike down the street and sees the kid.
He sees Ida and the kid walking, and he's talking about, how everybody was so excited to see him back at school and everything. And so that he had the surgery and it was a success.
It all worked out.
And then Sogo smiles.
Before that, I forgot. Before that, and before he goes to the hospital, he hands Emu the black watch.
Yeah.
And he says, "Hey, you're going to need this." And thus setting the timeline back to normal. Mm-hmm. And now we go back to 2018. He sees the kid and his father, and things have worked out. Really good ending. Made me miss X8.
Yeah. It's a great show.
So he shows back up at his uncle's place.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you take this part.
That uncle was so great because it was so funny. I don't know if it was an actual Kiva reference.
It can't be.
Or if I don't know, because I don't know if we're going to get Kiva, and I really hope that we do.
We better get Kiva.
We better, because it's so great. But the uncle does a little like puppet chatter with an oven mitt, And it reminded me of the Patranger, Itoya Rio, I think was his name.
Okay.
And how's it go?
Kurichiki!
It's so creepy. That guy was so weird, and he was like insane. He was like really insane.
He always had a duck. Like, there's different timelines in Kiva.
Yeah.
But he has a duck in one, and then like a squirrel in the other.
Yeah.
And then he has both at one point.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay, dude is crazy.
And they all go, Kurichiki!
Yeah, and he always is obsessed with like the female characters.
Oh, yeah, he loves women.
Yeah,
I identify with that.
Yeah, and then he kidnaps them. Yeah, don't kidnap women, though.
I don't kidnap them. I identify with the love of them, though.
Yeah.
So
don't be creepy.
Anyway, Sogo is called to the side by Geiz and Tsukuyomi, but Geiz is the one who calls him in there.
Yeah.
And he walks into the other room and he's like, hey, what's going on? And Geiz is like, what did you mean about you believe, like
you believe me.
You believe me and you believe Tsukuyomi. And I like this scene a lot for the plot. Maybe it's coming too soon for my liking, but I still liked the scene. I felt like it was well done. Sogo pretty much tells them, I'm going to walk the path that I feel is correct. Mm-hmm. And I know y'all have seen me as some horrible thing, and I know what you're here for. And if I start walking the wrong path, then kill me.
I trust your judgment.
Do it. And what I like about it is he says it so casually.
Yeah.
He's just like, yeah, if it's going to be bad, then kill me. And then he just walks out of the room.
Yeah.
I really like the way the scene came together, and Geiz and Tsukuyomi are very shocked.
Yeah, I don't think they expected that.
And so then we get... it's so crazy to me because, like... I never realized how much I love certain series until we get like a teaser.
Yeah.
And so they give us a Forze teaser.
Yeah, Wars is like, oh, he's going to meet another legend next week.
Oh my God. And he is a legend.
Yep.
He will go down easily as like, he's top 5 favorites. I love him. I love his attitude. I love the character progression in Forze. We get a quick glimpse of another Forze who looks weird.
Yeah, he looks kind of creepy. But they all do.
But we also get a shot of the suspenders teacher that I don't know the name of, but from Forze. He's there. And is that the Fies guy?
I think so.
I think the Fies guy. Because
they mentioned it in the like, oh, next week we're gonna have this. So.
Right. And one thing I think we're gonna get too is only one episode for Forze. It looks like, because it looks like he gets the armor next week already. And I feel like getting the armor is the end of that arc. Is the end of following that rider.
Yeah.
So
they're cramming 2 into 1. So
either that or they'll just, it looks like they might just be covering Forze, and the Fies guy is going to be along for the ride, and then his will carry over into episode 6.
I mean, it's possible.
That's my guess. I really don't know. But my God, we need to finish. You need to finish Forze.
I do.
We need to get back to watching that.
It still has one of my favorite intros, though.
Oh my gosh, Forze is great. Forze is great. It has an amazing side rider. What do you think of this episode?
It was okay.
Really?
Yeah, it was okay.
I like this episode a lot.
I don't know. I think for me, the thing I didn't like about it was just that because X8 is one of my favorite series, I was like, we need to see Kuroda, we need to see Taiga and Kirya and like the whole like Nico-chan and like everybody, you know. And I knew we weren't going to get it, but at the same time, I was like, come on. You know, part of me really wanted it. But at the same time, I understand. Overall, though, I think it has some really good moments. I love the interaction with the rider that they encounter for that episode. The ones that we've seen so far, you know, when they encountered Build. And, you know, oh gosh, I went brain dead for a second. Sento was like, you know, hey, do this. This is how you be Build. And then, you know,
he does it but screws it up.
Yeah, I love it how there's that, you know, nobody can be Kamen Rider insert name here.
Sure.
Other than, the main rider themselves. And I think I'm really interested to see how they're going to do that next week.
Well, see, here's the thing. What's the main character's name? I'm not
Gintaro.
Gintaro is a very animated dude.
Yeah.
He's super animated. And I can't wait to see how Sogo screws that up. Because Gintaro's going to give him crap for it.
But they're going to be fast friends, though.
Well, yeah, he's friends with everybody.
Yeah.
He's going to befriend everybody in the school.
Even Gates.
Doesn't matter. He'll befriend everyone. Watch and see.
Do you think he'll make friends with another Heisei?
Probably. You know what? Probably. Because
That's the end of that episode. Is like, it's some random guy who he didn't have any friends. He was the one person Gintaro wasn't friends with in school, and like nobody could see him. It was a ghost, I guess. It's not a ghost. It's a guy.
But we see the teaser for Gintaro, and he's got his suitcase or like his school
notebook
case. And it has just this fire emblazoned on it, and it says friendship. Oh my God. I'm super excited.
That's his roster. It's like, okay, today I made friends with this guy and that girl and this teacher.
He does that shit.
Yeah, I know.
He's friends with everybody anyway.
Except for another Heisei, which that's going to happen next week.
Gintaro is awesome, and I'm so excited. I really like this episode. I thought this episode really pushed forward a lot of things. We've talked a little bit longer this go, but listen, again, thanks everyone who listens.
Thank you.
Everyone who shows up. I've been putting a little more effort into editing these videos. The only reason I don't have the episode just playing in the background or clips in the background is it will get shot down fast.
They'll flag
if
it
I
quick.
do that. So my apologies for it just being stills, but so far the screenshots have worked. Thanks again to everybody who has subscribed. Please look forward to more of these. You got anything else, Daisy, before we close?
And don't forget, keep an eye out for when we actually are able to catch up and do the Lupin Pat if you're interested in Sentai. This series has been really, really fun. And also, it's such a different version of what you're used to in the Sentai genre.
Yeah.
So look out for that too. And again, thank you so much for all your likes and subscribes.
Absolutely.
And check back in with us next week.
Thanks for your dislikes too, guys. Your salt fuels me.
Don't
Space Kita!